Triathletes, you want to find out what is the fastest wetsuit on this planet? This is the test. We have 13 suppliers, 38 wetsuits we're going to test over the next 4 days with 6 athletes. Check it out. Triathletes, we did not test individual athletes. Instead of, we focused on 5 major mistakes that represent most triathlon age group swim styles. So we compared 5 swimming deficits to 38 wetsuits, those are 2019 models, and measured swimming economy based on lactate production and the oxygen uptake. So what is neoprene? We have one supplier basically, it's Yamamoto neoprene from Japan. He delivers 95% of neoprene to all the brands in this world. And neoprene is basically, we have a coating, we have a foam, and we have an inner lining. All neoprene brands are done like this: coating, foam, inner lining. And just to give you some ideas, if a wetsuit is very thin, like this lycra material, and I'm talking neutral, I'm not making this suit bad, it doesn't mean it's more flexible, because you can stretch to a certain point, but then it's finished. Okay, it doesn't mean if something is thin, it doesn't mean it's more flexible. If you take another suit which is more thick neoprene, you can stretch much more. So that's one thing we need to know. Or for example this one. For 20 years when I sold wetsuits, this aerodrome material with the air inside, I said yes, it's 30% more buoyant. Today I find out it's just 1% more buoyant. Or with the arm panel. So they tell you for the grip. Yes, it's sure, I think if you have more grip, like Zone 3 is using this. But knowing from the aerodynamics, we know that aerodynamics happens behind an athlete, not in front of the athlete. So if you work with a panel, you should also work on the other side of the panel, because it's all connected. So those are all the things that I want to find out. You know, can we see a tendency? Can we find out that there is a model that we can really say this is the fastest model that you can buy for the price? So. Yeah, let's check it out. One more thing that is important, that it's the tightness. So they told me if a suit is very tight, has the best fit, it means it's the best for an athlete. But it can also be too tight, because in an airplane you have a natural material that you can stretch to a certain point, and after this point you cannot stretch no more. So it's important that you fit the wetsuit very nicely. Okay? And also, one more thing that just came to my mind is when you see a suit, for example, the suit from Hub, the Warman, look how his arms are hanging. Because is anybody swimming like this? No, you will be swimming like this. So in this position, the arm is positioned just correct. If you take in other brands, the arm hangs nicely down like this, but then if you go like this, it doesn't really look natural. So think about this, you know? So let's find it out, and we'll deliver some results. Thanks. Okay guys, so how are we going to find out if one suit is better than the other suit? With me is Markus. He owns the big business Bestzeit in Germany. Yes. 3 hours from here, you came here, it's 4 days of testing. What are we actually doing here?
Yeah, this is the biggest test which is done worldwide since performance analysis is known, I think, with neoprene tests. Let me describe something about the test protocol.
Yes, please.
Before each measurement, we do a baseline measurement, which with each athlete we measure the lactate value in rest and the oxygen consumption also in rest. After the baseline measurement, we do a 5 minutes lap of swimming according to the critical swim speed of the athletes, and afterwards, direct afterwards, we measure the oxygen consumption and the lactate values again. We can calculate the lactate building rate and the energy cost of the swim lap with the neoprene suit. Okay. This we can recalculate the swimming economy and the energy costs which is produced by the neoprene with the same swimmer.
And the baseline you do always without a wetsuit?
We do one without a wetsuit, and we do before each suit we do a baseline.
Before each suit of those 38 suits we are measuring with those 6 athletes, we do a baseline to be sure that after 3.5 days they are at that point, so we know how tired they are, and you can calculate this into the measurements.
Correct.
Bravo. So how many lactate testings will you do over those 4 days?
We planned 1,200 small probes, one lactate probe or lactate value is a small container like this.
And we're
going to have 1,200 containers after these 4 days. A lot of data and also a lot of oxygen values which we have to consider in the summary.
Okay, and the oxygen values will be done with the VO2 master.
Yes.
And you measure it after the swim. So the swimmer swims for 5 minutes,
correct,
holds the air, correct, comes back,
we measure the mask. We put the mask on the nose and the mouth, and the oxygen consumption is measured by the VO2 master.
All right, thank you very much for explaining. Let's go. So, triathletes, day 2, just to make sure that you understand this test. Those 6 athletes will get more tired and tired as the day goes, and how can we make sure that we still have reliable data? We make sure that we always make a baseline without the wetsuit before we are testing. So Marcus, who does the testing, he knows exactly, according to the lactate, he knows exactly how tired they are, and this will be accounted to the testing results. So become more tired really doesn't make any difference to the results that we produce, just to make sure that you understand. Okay, so now we know, I told you yesterday, we have this neoprene, we have a coating, a foam, and an inner lining. And the big question really is for me as a coach, because I have to deliver facts, I have to deliver data. How is it possible that if we have a market of about 122,000 wetsuits are sold worldwide, so it's a very small market. Let's take $250 per suit, so we're talking about the 30 million sales market per 1 year, per 12 months. So that's not a big market. Knowing that one manufacturer, Yamamoto, is controlling this neoprene market and produces basically 95% of all the neoprene to all the 30 or 40 suppliers, brands that they are. So how big then can the difference be between those neoprenes? That's a big question I ask myself. That's why I'm doing this test. We have no idea what the test results will be in 3 days. So that's why I'm doing the test. But I'm asking myself because I used to sell neoprenes myself. I started in 1998. I started to sell my first Orca wetsuits, and I remember there was this aerodrome material that it's still used today. Can you get this? It has can you zoom in a little bit? It has those air bubbles inside, you know. And I told my customers, yeah, you have 30% more lift, you know. And I just found out yesterday the lift is like 1% more, so it's like nothing. So I've told just bullshit, sorry, for 20 years. So that's why I'm doing this test. to find out if we can see a difference between those wetsuits. Yeah, that's from day 2. See you tomorrow. So we are on day 3. At the moment Mickey is swimming. He's swimming at 1.3 meters per second. That equals about 1 minute and 16 seconds for 100 meter. He will be swimming 38 suits all the way through. He's the onlyest real swimmer besides 5 triathlete swimmers. So it was important for me to have one very good swimmer. He can swim 400 meters in sub 4 minutes. So he's, for me, a real swimmer. Before every take, we do the lactate measurement, and then he swims for 5 minutes at this speed. Now Marcus from best side is waiting with the VO mask. Now he's holding his breath, and then he's breathing in for 30 seconds. Here we measure oxygen uptake. And he's breathing now for 30 seconds into this mask. So lactate is still rising, so it's no problem to wait. Now it's done. Now he steps out, and another peek into his ear. So he swims at 1 minute and 16 seconds for 5 minutes, 38 times, and we check all the suits. As you can see, he takes it pretty easy. He's breathing a little bit, but not too much. So he shouldn't be too much anaerobic. It should be at a steady state pace, so we can repeat and measure swimming. So, triathletes, day number 3, everybody's getting tired. Today I would like you to see the flume that I'm working with. Come on in, we are in Horgen, follow me. So, by the way, this piece is just a container that we suck out the air while the athletes are swimming. We have built this to take out the air, so the air in the pool is diminished. So we don't want to have a lot of those bubbles in the pool. That's why we built this 5,000 liter piece. Come with me. Schneller schwimmen means faster swimming. So the whole thing, what you see here, come with me. Those are the wetsuits, 38 pieces. Come up here. So this flume is 55 tons in weight. It has a measurement of 12 meters by 3 by 3. And here is the place where we measure the suits. And you can see we work with the VO2 master for the gas. We find out about the gas, and also we do the lactate testing there. So this is now day number 3. And let me explain a little bit about this flume. So this is not a master spa or an endless pool. If you're taking in this section there, this flume has been built by TC Leipzig, and basically they have built all the Olympic swimming places in Germany for the real good swimmer. And what's the difference between a master spa or an endless pool that Sanders swims in, or Michael Phelps makes commercial about it, is here we have the whole cross section. Okay? We don't really have a restricted area of flow. So the whole cross section we have a flume, and we don't have any turbines pushing nervous and uneven water towards the swimmer. So this water has been propelled 12 meters behind. Those are 3 times 27 kilowatt engines with an 80 centimeters hub that we are propelling down. It comes on the double floor, is turned around and comes to the swimmer. So at the time the swimmer touches the water has been straightened, the bubbles have been sucked out, and we have a nice flow. Just imagine if you have just a very restricted cross section, if you are swimming towards this restricted cross section of a pump, you know, splashing resistance against you, you constantly have to, you know, guide yourself where can I be? If you go too much more to the right, you will get out of the stream, you will get more forward. If you're reaching really down for a nice stroke, you will touch still water, and that's not the way to go. So here, whole cross section, we have a constant flow, and here on the screen you can see we work meters by second, and then convert it into the minutes per 100 meter. So at the moment we are having a break, so that's why we have no stream. So this morning we started at 9 o'clock, we swam already 12,000 meters. The water temperature is at 27 degrees. And I can now start the engine. This is going to be 55,000 liters of water. It will take some time until we have the speed. So now you see I'm going to 1 meter per second, going a little further. Okay, come on. So those are the real heroes, you know, swimming for 4 days. I have 50 portions of pasta I prepared for them. Total amount is about 25,000 calories. They're almost gone and we have 1 more day to go. So, yeah. So we are now at day number 3. Today the athletes swam already 25k, and Marcus just took the lactate before. Hockey will swim. He will swim 5 minutes at this race pace of 7.3. Checking everything. It's a lot of work. Very good team. Yeah. How she's going. 5 minutes at 0.9 meters per second is his speed. Check it out here. And here we have a resting athlete. Still smiling. Still smiling. What's she doing? Resting after the swim. Yes. And here we can show all the material. Why you have so many quarks?
we have to measure the split time for each athlete and the resting time between the swim legs.
Okay. So we have 20 seconds.
21 seconds for athlete number 1.
Yeah. And he's writing everything down there,
yes.
Correct?
Yes. Urban data management.
Right. Very good, very good, very good. The next athlete is already coming. So how long did she rest?
5 minutes.
5 minutes resting?
Yeah.
We're going with the ear. There's still some blood left after 3 days?
Yes.
Okay.
Give the cycle management.
So guys, I will now analyze those athletes, and so we did this test because we did not understand the manufacturer claims, like we are the most buoyant wetsuit, we are the fastest wetsuit, the most flexible wetsuit. I just couldn't understand why they could say it. So that was my first motivation to do this test. And then second of all is conventional testing in still water is very difficult because you cannot reproduce exactly the same times in a pool. I personally know only a few athletes, and those are very good swimmers, who can reproduce 100 meters plus minus half a second, for example. And this would actually be the basis to really understand how a neoprene works for you. If you cannot reproduce same time, how can you find out that the wetsuit is faster or not? And the third point that is very important is we did not test athletes. We tested 5 major mistakes of triathlon age groupers compared to their deficits to those 38 wetsuits, and then measured them with lactate and the air that they used for their speed of a 70.3 race. That was 0.9 meters per second. And we measured the air with the VO2 master. So stay with me, I will now analyze those 5 swimmers. So first swimmer I call her lifting elbow swimmer, and of course it's just one major mistake she does, and she represents the market of triathletes very much. So she lifts the elbow, and it's too little forearm surface, and we don't really have enough pull on with the forearm. The arm leaves the water too soon. Also, the arm is guided too close to the body, to the rear of her. So there is little pressure, and there the turbulence in this area is too big. So it's not very efficient how she does it. Then we have the no leg swimmer, no use of forearm. Legs could be more coordinated and stronger. Hands could go slightly earlier and closer to the head into the water to be pushed forward. This would give the swimmer more time to water it down and put her hands right. Currently this phase is a bit short. Hip to deep swimmer. Again, it's just the one major mistake along other mistakes. His hip is too deep and restless. The swimmer primarily uses his hands as a footprint in propulsion. The forearm also remains unused. His hands are not perpendicular to the water surface, so much pressure potential is lost. Legs have almost no effect, neither propulsion, spectacular lift, nor stability. Mistake: feet are stretched too little. Result: the applied force generates little propulsion, but rather amplifies the already restless hip. The too wide swimmer: palms are bent too late. There is hardly any pressure or propulsion in the first phase of the stroke. Underwater, the arms are far too much outside, so the swimmer does not succeed in bringing his power into the water, octopus-like. Okay, the last swimmer, arms too low swimmer, right arm stings too deep into the water, first phase of the turn, and thus the propulsion potential is almost completely lost. Left arm is too far to the right, the swimmer puts her hands too late and then not consistent enough against the water. Swimmer does not use the possibility of maximum impression area of hand and forearm. Head could be a little bit too deep. So, triathletes, we are again. Hello, Marcus, Roy. We are post the test. 3 weeks after the test, we're sitting here. We received the first results.
Sure.
How many hours have you been analyzing those?
I think 2 of the 3 weeks after the test, I focused on the analysis of the data.
And how many data points did you have?
We have for each suit, we have 1 data point for the swimming, for the oxygen consumption.
Yes.
And up to 5 lactate values, which we measured pre-lactate and post-lactate. Okay. And now we have to calculate the swimming economy out of these values. And that's the point where we are now.
Okay, the calculations will be done with the Insight software from Sebastian Weber.
Yes.
And the challenge now is, as I understand it, I'm not a, this is not my field, but the challenge is we have a value of oxygen consumption while the athlete is swimming. That's one value. Then we have the lactate build-up in that time where the athlete swam this time.
Yes.
With this wetsuit.
Yes.
Okay. And now we need to understand, we need to get those figures together to understand the economy of the suit.
Yes, we can now calculate the economy of the suit, but the main challenge we are focusing in the next step is we want to understand the impact of the swim deficit of the athlete to each suit.
Yes. Again, as I told you many times in the video, sorry I'm repeating myself, we are not testing wetsuits. We are trying to show you if you have a bad swimming position in the water, this will be the best suit for you. If you cannot reach out in front, this will be the best suit. If you don't have a nice pull there, this will be the best suit. So we tested 5 major mistakes of the triathlete field and compared that with our testing. So that's the approach that we are doing.
Exactly.
So just to repeat that we are talking the same language. When you measure the oxygen uptake while a swimmer swims, you never know how much he uses the anaerobic or the aerobic system. You don't know that.
Yes.
Correct?
Yes. You know, if you measure the anaerobic system, you can only say something about the anaerobic capacity, about the aerobic capacity of the athlete, but you cannot fully understand the complete system of aerobic and anaerobic energy production.
Okay, that's why we need the lactate.
Yeah. Okay. This is why we need to have both values, oxygen consumption and lactate value, and we have to combine this.
Yes.
And in this combination, we can calculate the swimming economy in a full overview of the athlete. Yeah. And as soon as we have this swimming economy, we can focus on the next challenges.
Okay.
To bring these values in relationship to the swim deficit.
Okay. So you have your grand opening of your shop, I think, in 1 week.
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah. So about 3 weeks later. So we'll say another month.
Hopefully, yeah. We are ready in 3 to 4 weeks to have a full report of the study.
Okay. One thing I want to say before we step on is, for me, one thing is clear now. When I'm going to sell wetsuits in the future, in this flume here, I will first, if the guy or the girl stands in front of me, I will first say, go swim. Okay? Then I will watch how this person swims. then I will position myself, then I will categorize this swimmer and say, okay, the main mistake, the main deficit of this swimmer is this. Okay, with this main deficit, this is the suit for you, please try it out. So I will reverse the selling. I will not say per se, I have this brand, it's very flexible, please go with this. I have a less expensive suit, please go with this. So first I will watch the swimmer swim.
Yes.
And then categorize it, you know, and then choose the wetsuit for the suit. So this is a real aha, you know.
I think this is the way how wetsuits are going to be purchased in the future.
Yes, I also think so. So thanks, and we see each other in a month. Thank you. So triathletes, we are on the very end of this test with the neoprenes. Next to me is Sebastian. Thank you very much with your software program inside. Without you we couldn't have done it. Please could you explain why you joined us and what's in it for you?
Well, basically we use Insight to measure the energy demand at the different with the different wetsuits. The unique thing here is that you know, you're not only looking at the aerobic metabolism, but Insight is basically looking at the aerobic and the anaerobic metabolism. So we can use the lactate values to understand how much energy is coming from the anaerobic system, and obviously the VO2 measurements to understand how much energy comes from the aerobic system, and then you get a much more complete picture, which is then also cleaned or normalized, you can say, for things like whatever, a decrease in glycogen content or an increase because you had a lunch break or something, right? So all these factors, so to speak, don't affect your results anymore because the software takes this all into account.
Okay. And when we delivered all the data, was it interesting for you to see what we measured? How did you handle the whole data of 1,000?
I think you know it's for sure the biggest wetsuit test so far. I mean, we have tested before a little bit with some professional triathletes. We tested with Cameron Worth and looked for some swimsuits and you know different kind of tests. But never in this magnitude, like never an assessment of that side, and then really to have the same wetsuit with different athletes, and to really get a better understanding if the wetsuit in general is fast and efficient and saves power, saves your energy. I think that was super interesting, yeah. Okay, good. That's all we have to say. So you can get to this test. Check the link above. Check it out, and we will test again, and we will test again, and we will always learn and improve the whole testing. Thank you that we could use Insight. Thank you. You're welcome.
Guys, thank you very much for watching my YouTube channel. This is my book, Triathlon Total. It has 30 chapters out of my 30 years experience as a triathlete. Thank you very much.